I am Zakariye. I'm a writer, poet, filmmaker, performer, workshopper. I'm going to stop there, but that's what. Yeah, good. Yeah. So
Are you going to say what film you're doing?
I'm going to say what film I'm doing. I'm doing a film called My Somali Isn't Very Good, which my mum would laugh at because it's just accurately titled after me. And it's this beautiful story, sort of heartbreaking story about a young girl who receives a phone call from a family member, and she's trying to like understand what the family member's saying, and the family member's kind of like, "You don't know what I'm saying. Just tell your mom I called," and it sort of ends there.
Dude, no spoilers.
Oh, it doesn't end there actually.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
There's like another
There was
half an
more,
hour.
yeah, but that was just sort of like the small little premise.
I'm Nafeesa. I'm a poet mainly, and a director and a playwright and many other things, educator, facilitator. I chose the film Motherland, which feels really fitting with a lot of what I'm writing at the moment anyway. And I chose it mainly because of the title, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then the title, like what happened in the film was everything I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Also, you literally read the words and you thought, oh, that...
Yeah,
Yeah.
straight up. That's
funny,
that one's
isn't it?
meant for me.
Yeah.
And I kept trying to fight it out first. I was like, oh, I can't, I'm tired of writing about this particular theme.
Yeah.
But then I found myself back there at the end. I was like, oh, I guess, yeah.
That makes sense.
That was meant for me all along.
Lovely.
My name is Jess Davies. Sometimes I throw my middle name in there for the fun of it. Jess May Davies. There's no particular reason for that. And I chose the film 6 minutes per kilometre, which I keep putting around in my way, made by Catherine Boyman.
Mm-hmm.
I just really loved the imagery, and it made me think a lot about how I move through the world as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm Stephen, or Polarbear, depending. I Been There is the film that I kind of chose initially just because of the title, and then I went, oh, okay, wait, let me watch, and then I thought, I went, but my brain had already chosen by that point. I think just this, this notion of just life through a screen, like a mediated, curated existence where you're almost kind of checking off places. People say, it's always reminds me of the phrase people say, like, I've done Mexico. You're like, wow, like you've done it all. You know what I mean? The idea, but it makes you, what it means to be somewhere and whether we actually kind of get further away from actually being present and stuff. So it just kind of resonated. So I chose that one. And now I'm writing, like we were saying earlier, like I'm writing like 40, I feel like I'm writing 40 different things at the same time, looking for something that feels like it's fits. Do you know what I mean? How's it going? Maybe that's a good point. Maybe it's a good question to us now. Like, we've all started. How is it going, the writing, in terms of, do you find yourself watching it and then writing there? Did you want a bit of distance between seeing the film and then writing? How has the process been?
For me, like key phrases stuck out. I've watched the film so many times now. And there's a number of key phrases that have stuck out. I quite like, at one point it says something like, there's a line about the sound of children running up and down the stairs, and a mother missing that sound. Yeah. And then I was wondering, I wonder if my mum misses that sound. And then I was like, no, I don't think she does actually. There's a bunch of 4 boys and a girl running around. I think
it's a lot of footsteps.
Yeah, I think she's like, hang on. And similar to you, we've got like 1,000,001 different tangents or different takes that I could do in terms of a response to this film, and it's just a matter of choosing which pathway I'm going to go down. I'm taking my time to decide.
Why not? Yeah, similar. I feel like the title really spoke to me because it's literally me, and so I've kind of wrote something about that before. And I don't necessarily want to write the exact same poem. So I'm trying to come at it from a different angle that the film also does. So I'm kind of just borrowing lines from my old piece, but it's informed me even more. And it's taken like a different a different step now. I'm sort of in a different place from when I first wrote that poem.
Yeah.
Actually hearing and seeing a film talk to me about how I actually feel. So yeah, it's getting a bit more personal, which I kind of like, and I didn't expect to write about that again. But yeah, it kind of doesn't leave you, as you were saying in your intro. It's just like you don't want to, but then you kind of don't have a choice. So
It's just what feels right?
it feels right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I really picked up on the idea of being in a different place from beginning to the end of the writing process. And in this case, I guess as an audience member, I'm having first watched the film and then reading more into it, so that I can respond in a full way, to the best of my ability. I'm coming to the film again at a different place than when I started. Catherine is a descendant of the eighteenth native people to the place that I've come to know as Canada. You know, learning little bits of a new language, and I'm practicing it because I'm not used to saying it. And I'm thinking, why am I not used to saying that? And I can.
Okay, and that's taking you down.
And that's taking me down a path. And that's interesting because she's running in the video as well. So I'm coming to a different place than when I first was when I watched it.
There's something about what you said there is, because for me at least, from when I kind of first started writing stuff, I knew I was going to speak. It was always so visually in my head. It felt like there were short films that I was then just kind of relaying. So imagery and the visuals of things. But I know other friends who they feel like they're led by sound and imagery, or doesn't really come into it as much. Things kind of sprout, but in terms of the initial intention of stuff, do you think? I mean, what does it make you think of it? Because I think really, really in images already, and I'm trying to relay them through the words. Does that resonate with anyone here, or does it feel like a very different way of? Do you know what I mean? Because when you present it with the images, you kind of you've got them in your head, but then what are you doing with the words? Are you creating more images? Are you being around them? Do you know what I mean? What does it make you think?
I think so. I mean, I think it starts with an image. I think any story you tell, you have a beginning, opening image, and then it's sort of about filling in that image. It's not necessarily a film that moves, but it's been also, what does that person look like? How are they standing? You know, how are they holding their hands? And all of that sort of infers your writing, in my opinion. You're almost making a character.
Okay.
So even if your poem doesn't actually, in my opinion, even if the poem doesn't say like, oh, he looked sad, it's more so about like, what is it in the poem that shows this?
So you mean description?
Description,
okay.
and the feeling. And it's almost like, if that poem had to be a person, what does that person look like, and how does it look like on the page as well?
Okay.
So,
what does it make you think? I find that interesting, but I don't want to.
It's making me think of capturing the spirit of the film, which is, I think, is what I've been trying to do. I've not been trying to just like dictate what's happening in the film, because the film's already done that. I know why would I just repeat what the film is saying? And making sure also that my poem's not just a synopsis of the film either, but instead, trying to capture the spirit of the film. And in my film, it was the mother. It was this mom, this matriarch, this head of a household. She was the spirit of the film, and her strength and everything I admired about her. I guess I tried to find places in my own life where I can see those qualities in the women around me, and then I've tried to capture that all in a poem. But again, there's so many different tangents that I'm like, you've got to keep focused here. Got to keep focused. What is the spirit of this film? And that's a question I keep asking myself, actually.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense to you.
Yeah, I just want to say
You had the yes face. You really had the yes face.
I was just saying yes. I think trying to get to a point or a snapshot of the feeling that I have, or the things that I'm thinking about when I'm away from the film. So not just the thoughts I have when I'm watching the film, but how it moves with me when I'm away from it, which I think is my mark of a good film, is to think about it when you're not watching.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sad such a thing about things making sense, a sense of like, so when I'm writing stuff, because the majority of what it is, it feels kind of overtly narrative. When there's other things involved, like if I'm responding to something, or I'm in collaboration with somebody, I'm so not interested in things making sense. So you're talking about the idea of the kind of spirit of something, and you kind of here is this. Think about a cut. Two things together just become a story. Like you see a knife and you see a picture of a person. Your brain now feels that something's gonna. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's dinner time or a bad thing gonna happen, right? And then you go, okay, what is the equivalent of that with words? Because words become so neat, so literal, so quickly in my mind, and which is useful in the story. But when I have a chance, it feels like I kind of have a chance to play. So my brain's like, right, you don't dare make sense, basically. And then that's why I try my version of kind of abstract or whatever else. Oh, bloody hell, I've just written another story again. Wow. And so I'm trying, that's what I wrestle with. I wrestle with trying to tap into a feeling of something without being literal. And also trying to avoid images, because it feels like an opportunity to because I'm responding to something. And I think that's what I'm wrestling with now. Like, what is there? What can I do with words that you couldn't just see there on the screen? How can they add or dance with it a little?
What's wrong with telling a story again?
Nothing.
Telling another story.
It's almost, imagine this. It's almost like you say you do a thing. Like I make the same meal, right? And I'm really proud of my meal. When you come to my house, this is probably the meal I'm going to cook because I'm proudest of it. But then I've got someone's brought some new ingredients. And I'm like, you know what? I want to try something. It's an opportunity to try, because left to my own device, I just cook that same meal again because I love it. And I'm not slagging that living meal off. I love it. But it's like, I don't want to miss a trick. So it's almost like I see this. I could, do you know what I mean? So I guess I'm itching to play, basically. And for me, play means taking a little bit of a risk of things that I've been doing away from things I've been in for a long, long, long time. Just flexing another muscle kind of thing.
That's quite inspiring,
I hope so.
I want to take that route now. Just go focus on the play of it. I think I've been taking this whole thing a bit seriously, actually.
But it feels serious, though, right?
It's someone else's
exactly.
work,
Exactly. You want to be respectful.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, right. But then the thought I landed on was, right, I can be respectful. You said, I don't just want to relay, and you said, I don't want to show what's already there. And you're like, right. Almost like the most respectful thing is to respond in a way that a film isn't.
Yeah.
I know that's still quite a vague.
It's a different art form. Like poetry is an art form, film's an art form, and yet you were saying you don't want to translate what's on the screen, but there is like a nuance almost of like finding the thin line that sort of it says what the film is saying, but it's diving into like a different section. So I love when a lot of films have monologues, or they have a character saying something even poetic, but it's like you don't want to just show bar for bar what they're saying and it's just translated onto the screen. It's so much more interesting when you use the art forms in different ways to relate the same message. So
that's a perfect. I mean, did you plan this? Because because you already I was going to say mess around. That's being disrespectful. Like you played with film. But you play with performance film a lot, and have done for a while, right? Yeah. So, and we had a chat once, and I remember you saying about you writing things and being able to see visuals about the ideas for locations and shots and things. Yeah. Do you guys have this? I never considered filming myself at any point whatsoever.
That's so hearing your work. But
it's interesting, right? And but do you? Maybe it was just a different thing. Like, I mean, it was just pre-YouTube, maybe. So maybe just in terms of the consciousness, it wasn't like just part of the language or kind of cultural, do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Makes sense.
But do you guys, because you definitely do that, right?
Absolutely.
Can you speak to that a little bit?
I can. Okay, I will. Just to make it, I know, not make more sense, but just to give it more context. So I was working with a cinematographer, which was really nice. Not working, we just had a chat. And so he's all about what's on the lens, what's in the camera, what's, what the image is saying, the color, the shadows. And I was thinking, like, that's exactly what the poetry is. You're just thinking of, like, what does the line say? If I cut it here, if I leave the space and the gap in the page here. And so he was all about making, he had his art form, which I didn't even really consider. He was like, my art form is the screen. So as much as you want to make a poetry film, I don't want to make a poetry film. I want to make a film that's great, and then you make the poetry that's great, and then we can put those together under the same theme. And I was like, I completely disrespected your art form. I just want you to shoot stuff. But no, you have to make stuff in the same way that I'm making stuff. Yeah. And that was
okay. So initially then you view it as just recording this thing that you were already doing. And then you learned through this kind of process of collaboration and conversation.
Absolutely.
And is that exciting? Is that, then you find the parallels between the two?
It's so much more creative. Like if I say in a poem, like, and the man walked down the street. It's so easy to just follow someone walking down the street. But he was like, well, what if I take like a raindrop going down like a window, and it's like, that's something going down the street.
Okay,
That's
so
his
they're
version.
talking to each other.
Talking to each other in a different way, and it's a different interpretation, and it's beautiful. And you know, I was always thinking like logically,
Yeah.
because I was like, if I'm going to film something, I want to make a poem that fits and can be filmed. And he was like, that's my job. You be as creative as possible. And then with my creativity, I would try to be as close to that creativity as I can.
What do you guys think of that? Is that, have you been conscious of being filmed? Have you filmed yourself much? Because I know, Nafeesa, you've been playing around with, you've been experimenting with visuals and without yourself and with yourself, right? Can you speak to what you've been playing with and why that happened, or how, or just what you're enjoying, I guess?
So I'm really enjoying, so I got a new laptop, right?
Yeah, cool.
So before my MacBook, I used to have like this awful free laptop that my uni gave me years ago. So, and I couldn't download any apps on it, and it had very low storage, couldn't do anything on it. And for years I dreamed, I was like, oh, I can't wait to have iMovie one day. I'm gonna get movie maker on one of my laptops. And then I got a MacBook, and obviously it's got iMovie on it. And the first goal I had of what I was going to do with my new MacBook was make a film with one of my poems. So really it was me like playing around with iMovie for the first time, and it turned into this film called On the Beat. And also my husband taught me how to use GarageBand because he used to be a DJ, so he taught me how to use GarageBand. So I made my own tune that I then transferred over to iMovie. And I'd never really used iMovie before as well, so he also taught me how to use iMovie as well. And then it was just a matter of playing. It was a way for me to chill out at the end of the day, was to go and make music and go and make a film. That was me chilling out and taking my mind off on poetry. It's part of my creative process. It was a way for me to just like refresh things and to play around. I think with just writing poetry, I find that sometimes a bit hard just to go into the play of it. I really need to dip into a different art form, a totally different medium to actually engage with play, I think, because I take poetry way too serious. And I've just reminded myself that if I'm struggling with play in writing this poem, maybe I need to go try a different art form. And maybe that's going to help me engage in play. Also, one of my lecturers at uni said to me that so he said something like, of all the art forms that is closest to poetry, film and script writing are the closest. I can't remember the reason he gave, but it resonated so hard with me. I was like,
in a sense of what, you believe it?
Yeah, I believe it, and I don't know how to put that into words as such, but I really resonate with that. I'm like, yes, film is, and writing script and writing for theatre as well. And just script writing feels very close to poetry in terms of the frames, I guess. Maybe
even form-wise, like how it looks. Right.
So creating different, obviously, like when you create a film, you're creating different, like a storyboard up first with different frames. And when I write a poem, I think that's how I visualize it, is in different frames, and then the form comes out of that as well. So they kind of feed into
that makes a lot of sense.
And then the music is just an additional like vibes. It's just to keep my energy going.
For sure.
What I've been thinking about is how I've missed, I think, being around other people talking about creative process. That feels like such a label, makes it sound so artificial. Talking to other people about how they take in the world. Because we're talking about how we use film, or how we feel about being filmed, and to be meta about it with being filmed right now. So it's funny to me to think that we're trying to talk about it like it's not happening.
Should we all just stare at the
You
camera?
broke the fourth wall.
Fourth wall break.
You told them we're being filmed.
No signs, don't throw up any signs.
And I think, what I was going to say, but that's important to me in my head, to relax, to acknowledge that and have a more honest conversation with people, because it's really interesting what everyone's saying. And then we're talking about writing practice, and I think my practice is kind of the moments that I take to sort of properly process what I've seen or what I've felt or what I've heard, and Yeah, very. I think when I write, I tend to look for. Actually, when I write, I'm not looking for something. I don't think I'm writing about moments where something has suddenly become very clear to me.
Oh wow! And you want to share that clarity,
and I want to share that clarity so that I can hear it out loud, and then I better understand it for myself because it's coming out of my mouth. Because I feel like you're processing it again.
Yeah.
And I think even this conversation, even though we're talking about art and poetry and film and script writing, it's relating back to me, it's relating how I take in information from the world. So taking so much information through social media.
If that feels like the case, does that mean you have to wait for one of these moments of kind of clarity to kind of like present itself and then you can kind of write? Do you see what I mean? Like, can you write, or do you feel like you're having to respond to these things when they come?
It's a bit of both. And I think as I've gotten older, I've had less moments because maybe I understand myself a bit more.
Yeah, we'll take that.
And therapy. But what it does make me, even you asking that question makes me think of the other thing that's in my head, which is practicing talking about things is something I think of not just in the creative process, but in life as well. So I'm really used to taking in material through social media. And when it comes to actually talking about important things, you know, I can refer to a bullet point list or I can repost something.
Short term, like.
But I'm not actually practicing talking about things out there.
Yeah.
So for me, it kind of relates, like, what am I trying to say? I feel a similarity between struggling to write and articulate how I'm feeling to trying to take in other pieces of information and other conversation.
Yeah. Well, with that in mind, then is the idea of responding to a thing that exists, like a film in this case. Is that exciting? Does that feel quite liberating in that sense? Because it's like, it's not like it's coming. It's like it's there, and someone's asking you, "Oh, what do you think of this?" Does that feel like it's takes away some of that kind of pressure, maybe, or is it the same thing?
I think it's without the filmmaker being there, and we were talking earlier about coming back to our own creative processes. I think one of the things that I struggled with is that, in that sense, I would like it to be a conversation. So I'm just having a one-way conversation at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has spoken to me, and I'm trying to find a way to speak back without forcing it or posturing. Is that how you feel as well? Because you were saying that you were struggling and you were overthinking it, but yeah, trying to find the natural flow of a conversation. I'm even thinking about body language now, like the way I was saying. Yeah,
Definitely.
trying to feedback of something.
I think we're forever walking that line of wanting to represent something and to do yourself justice and your thing justice, but also overthinking these things, because you know, you make a thing and you pour yourself into it, whether it's a film or a poem or whatever it is, and then once it's done, the control of how that's interpreted is kind of out of your hands, right, to a degree. And then maybe we have an extra layer on that because we speak a lot of our work out loud, or have done. So you have a kind of extra layer of like the way in which you share something. You have a bit of control over that, but in terms of you can't really control what that dialogue is, right? So it's almost like, yeah, go on.
Because it's still what we're doing again, what we are in this project specifically, making a piece in response to the films that we've chosen.
Yeah.
We're then creating another conversation because the audience members at the event who see the event are then going to be on the other side of that conversation again. So they become us.
Yeah.
And then what are they going to say? And so that's actually helped me.
Yeah, because you're smart and everyone's smart. Everyone's kind of smart. That's exciting though, right? To me, like that kind of the consequences of the game of the kind of like, it means it becomes kind of communal in a way. Is that fair to say? Like it feels like it's like I'm not a big fan of performance, my own really, mostly my own, but like when it feels like there is more to it, like I'm part of something as opposed to the thing, I get 100 times more excited. So something like this to me is more exciting than doing a gig, because for me, I like feel like I'm in a thing that is ongoing, and whether that's in conversation with the other artists, whether it's in conversation with somebody at the gig outside, or whether it's just in conversation with myself on the way home, like what the bloody hell was that? That to me feels a lot more interesting and exciting than just me sitting with myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that's life stage.
It's along the potential.
I guess so. I think that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the right word. Like, what we don't know, we just don't know what's gonna.
Now that you've said it, they're probably my favourite gigs where there's conversations that have opened up afterwards, or where people have come up to me and asked
Yeah.
a surprising question that's thrown me off, and like, oh God, I don't know how to answer that. But I guess it's given me something to go away and think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, art, the kind of art that keeps giving.
Yeah. I know you literally said it, didn't you? You said like, what the measure of the film that I think is when it sticks with me afterwards, and I'm kind of going. And that in microcosm, you know, like, if we can literally talk about these things or have dialogue about what the response or what you thought or what it makes you think of.
Yeah.
Oh man, that we've all experienced that in a room. I'm conscious of the mug. There was a stuffed mug, right? It's got some stuff in there. Because
No liquid.
Chip and these thought we wouldn't have much to say or to talk about, and we've already talked about for 4 hours, whatever. Should we have a look?
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to do it though because I don't want to risk. Will someone just take something out and just read out loud what it says,
You first.
and then we'll go.
Thanks.
Go on, Zach. Do you mind? Is that all right?
I do mind, but I'll go first.
All right.
It's all right. I'm in a room full of legends. I'll do whatever.
So we did. Go on.
Okay. All right.
And the alarm stop with them.
Yeah. Oh, words versus pictures.
Come on, Davies, coming in with battle.
Yeah. Yeah, it is almost like a battle.
Words versus pictures.
Yeah, but I feel like we spoke about this a little bit already.
What does it even mean to people? Does it mean anything to people? Is it aggressive? Is it like?
I feel like we're all poets and we have to say words. Like that's what I'm feeling, the pressure of I have to say words.
Really?
Because I'm a writer, but actually I'd say the opposite. I'd say pictures, definitely. I'm really tired of words.
Isn't it interesting though? Because we even like we can get more and more pretentious the more we kind of talk about it. Like, why are we even separating them? Like, what is the goal of thinking about this idea? I know, speaking personally again, is like, right, there was a period of time where these short pieces that were spoken were just kind of pouring out of me. I wasn't even writing them down. So although they were words that I was speaking, in terms of what I felt like I was doing, it felt like more like a kind of projector of these things that I could see, as opposed to like writing them down. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I'd be like, I wouldn't even, it wasn't until later on when I tried to write them down. And when I wrote them down, I would always hate them because I didn't like looking at the words.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
So I'm saying pictures all day, but like, but then it's like, it's not a binary thing, is it? I don't know.
No.
Somebody else say something.
But it feels like a would you rather question. Like, would you rather pictures?
Yo, would you rather never have
Yeah.
words? Like, wow.
Boy,
So when
that's
you
a
put it
big
like
question.
Well, what's the saying? Isn't there there's like a phrase like
words, pencil.
a picture?
Or a picture paces 1,000
Picture
words.
pays 1,000
Yeah.
words. In relation to your own work, do you think one of them comes first? If you had to say, do you like? Because I often will start. I'll hear a phrase in my head
Sure.
that starts me off, and I'll sit with that for ages. So that, but then, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's so hard to discuss, really. I think.
I think for me, it's images, definitely just going by the feedback I've had on my poetry for the past 10 years, which is usually, oh, this is a really beautiful image you built, Nafeesa, but where is the emotion?
Yeah.
Yeah, where's the emotion? This is
real?
written poetry, sorry. So at university for about 10, like in academia, this is the feedback that I've had for about 10 years. Same feedback I'm still getting on my master's now, which is that you build a really beautiful image, but then you stop at the emotion.
What do you mean? So
I think that's because I lack the language still around emotional, like my own emotional literacy is not where it needs to
in terms
be.
of describing
Yes,
emotion.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
But I've read loads of your stuff, and it's soaked in the stuff.
That's it. I'm going back to my lecturers. You guys need to change my mark, I think.
But isn't that interesting? Because you said like in terms of academia, and in terms of, I guess that's in terms of like rules or expectations that are kind of, I don't know.
But even in terms of getting the feeling of a poem across, like if I'm not performing it, I think the truth. I'm really trying to look at the truth of it, which is that I don't think that the true emotion of what I felt when writing that poem is getting across unless I'm performing it, and then it gets across. But when it's someone else just reading my word, I can see how. Yeah, the emotion is missing because I've not quite found the language yet, or I've not tidied up the the language around it, I guess. And I think I'm all right with that because I really like building beautiful images.
Yeah.
So I'm all right with that. for now.
Yeah, are you comfortable
Yeah,
with that as your
yeah,
practice?
yeah, I am. I'm like, I really like
What is
building beautiful images that make me really happy. And at the end of the day, this poetry is definitely more a tool for me. And then whatever the public gets out of it is still going to be beautiful as well.
Yeah.
Because it's subjective to audience as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
I was thinking of the joking term professional audience member. So like if you don't want to perform or write or make so much, but you love an art form and you want to go see it and absorb it, and then
Do you become a professional? Is that how it works?
you become a professional audience member.
How long does that take?
I think it's a feeling you get.
Okay. Because
Rather
it's
than
3 years set with like extension years.
No, it's not an accreditation course.
Oh, right.
Accredited course. But like then thinking about who gets to absorb the work and what is their sort of like, are they asking the right question to the work to fully unlock the full feeling of it? So is the person who's grading your work, are they asking the right questions to, I don't know,
I don't want to be in that film.
I hope they are.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
are they are they the, yeah.
that's a really good point. It reminds me of like to be a good writer, you've got to be a good reader as well. That old sentiment, and how to be a good audience member.
Yeah, the rule. It's a particular type of film, isn't it? It's like it feels a kind of slightly dusty, pastel-coloured film of people telling you how to do things.
Cool.
When you're like, I'm doing this thing. This is how I'm doing it. I want to learn and I want to take in, but ultimately, how I do something is going to be how I do it.
What does a poetry film look like?
Yeah.
You're talking about this.
Yeah, that's my one.
Do you want to go fishing again?
Anyone got strong feelings?
What
Like-
does a poetry film look like?
Makes me think of what Casey Bailey was saying the other day when we were hanging out after an event, and you were talking about filming a poem, and then Casey said it doesn't have to be just the person reading the poem. And then he talked about filming a poem of him in the back garden and his child watching a plane go over, and the focus of that rather than on Casey performing his poem.
Yeah.
That's what that made me think.
Have we all made them or been involved in the making of them? Has everyone had that experience here?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
They've all been a bit different as well, actually. But like, I feel like all my favourite films are poetic.
Yeah.
So I
What does that mean then? Do you think to you? What can you elaborate on what that means? I know, sorry, but like, do you mean in terms of
the language,
okay?
in terms of the images? Some of the images feel really like, I'm going to say this is a lot of independent indie type
Can
films.
you give us an example? Sorry to put you on the spot, but like, Just so we
yeah,
can-
that's a tricky question.
do you know what I mean? Have you seen something recently that would fit into that kind of category? Or
Definitely have. What have I seen? Right, I saw this Algerian film on an airplane, where it's like a bunch of young women or young female students trying to put on a fashion show during like this trying to find the right word here, Islamic uprising in Algeria at the time, whilst there's also the French who've invaded at the time as well. So it's a whole mess in Algeria at the time. And these girls, they just want to put on a flipping fashion show. And there's really beautiful images and on like really, really tender moments of the women like putting lipstick on each other and then in the next minute you've like, I don't know, one of them's just been shot in the back of the head for not wearing a hijab properly or something. And I'm like, this is everything I want to sum up in a poem. I wish I could sum this up in one poem and I can't because there's so much going on here.
is there something in that makes me think, think about image, you think about the strength of image, and you think about how much can be said in an image, like we were saying. And if I was going to describe that with words, you're looking at a page, right? And the time that takes, and something like it's less immediate somehow because there has to be a translate. You have to listen to it translate, whereas the direct route to the brain via the eyes, and something about particularly when it comes to mess or things that are really kind of like, there's lots going on.
I'm trying to find freeze frames, and I
Yeah.
think that's how I write every single poem. It's me trying to capture a freeze frame of a bigger, small-ish. It's still a small moment, but within there, it's like there's a whole microcosms and universes within there, and I've got to decide which bit do I want to focus on in this universe of a tiny little moment.
Yeah. So it was like pressing pause on one frame.
Yeah, and then zooming into every square inch. Like, which bit are we going to focus in on?
Oh, that's gorgeous though, isn't it? I think that as an exercise, that'd be something that'd be gorgeous to do, to pick something. Do you know what I mean? Like, let something run. And then it maybe even like, not even consciously, but like without even looking, you just press pause. And then you zoom in, and then we literally like not swipe, but like, you know, you're with your fingers and kind of.
I'm going to do that with this film, actually.
Yeah,
that's a
there
good,
might be something
good
in
little
that for sure.
exercise.
That got me excited. It feels like quite playful, but it would get you into something in the layers, which I think a lot of my favorite films, poetry films, are not like I can't really explain why I like them.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And I think there's something. Maybe it's in study film at all. It feels a little bit less academic. And I remember, I think about words or poems, I'm still have the kind of school weight of having to study and pick things apart and analyze, and not really understanding a lot of it.
Wow.
Whereas film, something I would just do my own time, felt like more mine, and it felt like it was more. It didn't need to be analysed. It just felt like it felt more immediate to me. So I've definitely watched more films than I've read books. If I'm
Really?
definitely.
Oh, actually, sorry. What am I saying?
At this point in my life,
What am I saying that? Yeah.
listen, I remember like but it's interesting. And I read plenty, right? But it's that thing of like, and I've definitely here's a definite one. I've definitely rewatched films more than I've reread books.
Oh yeah.
Right? What's that mean? Do you think? Does that mean anything? Does that I'm just lazy? What it's like? Do you know what I mean? Like, does that ring true to you?
Definitely.
I've reread a bunch of books, but like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think to reread a book, because there's so much in a book. I mean, to be fair, I've reread a lot of poetry collections, but that's also a lot easier, I feel like, or because there's so many different stories in a poetry collection, you find yourself going back to them constantly. But with an actual book, it's because it's so dense. Even the smallest of books are really dense, and every word matters. And it's like you pretty much, the whole picture's painted for you. You don't miss anything. But with a film, it's almost like there's moments and snapshots and scenes that you sort of don't really take into account properly. So the first time you watch it, because I rewatched Arrival the other day, and I'd only watched it in cinemas in 2016. And when I rewatched it, I remember just thinking like, this is so poetic. The whole thing is just one thing, but everywhere you pause, it is like a painting, and it's like, it's a whole story just in every single different shot. And it goes back to what you were saying with how you think of poetry like storyboards. Because that also rings true with like, if you think of poetry like stanzas, it's like each stanza is almost like one box of a storyboard, and then it sort of moves the scene along until the end. So I feel like film is the same, but it's just, well, going back to the question, it's I don't know, there's something about, well, there's delivery in a book, it's sort of only delivered in one way, I feel like. But in a film, there's so many, you can pick up on the different deliverances and the different arts that are involved in that at one time.
That's interesting as well then, right? Because, sorry, did you want to say something then? No, I just think there's something fascinating about it, because you got thinking about, you said, Nafeesa, you said at one point, I know if I'm delivering it, then I know I can infuse it with this emotion I want to talk about. And there's something about, maybe there's a big difference between handing something over on the page and then this. Is spoken word more filmic than the page? In my mind, it completely is, because what I'm asking you to do, or I'm hoping you do, is to picture your version of what I'm describing. I guess maybe my stuff is quite overtly narrative. So I'm describing locations and scenes. All my things are about scenes. So what I'm hoping is that you're seeing, not me, but you're seeing yourself in this. These films are kind of playing out. It's literally me talking film, to the point where like, I got to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm a speaker film, and I wrote a piece which is an hour long, and it's literally just dialogue and shot description, right? And it was one of those films, those lo-fi independent films set in Birmingham where not much happens. So it was really Marmite, right? Some people would come, and some people really liked it, and other people were like, what the hell is this? It's not even rhyming kind of thing. But it felt like playing with a thing that I decided was that spoken word was me talking films. That's when it felt like I decided that to myself, and that's why I felt exciting to me. Does that ring true? We all speak and we all read our work.
Yeah.
Does any of that ring true or kind of connect or feel like it means anything? Like, do you think? What are you doing when you speak? Do you know what I mean? Is there something about speaking stuff that makes it closer to film or further away from film? Is that a fair point?
Maybe we'll know better after the event.
Yeah. In terms of what it felt like. All right. All right.
Nice.
That's simultaneously a cop out and a really good answer. Yeah. That's like we'll trade that. Okay, right. I get it. I'm trying to think like.
I know I've read good poems that could easily be so like film-like as well.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think of specific poems now. Man, I've definitely read some really great poems that made me feel like I've just watched a short film.
But loads of your pieces are like that. In that first collection, right? There are that literally.
And when you're reading it yourself, I was like, okay.
What about BA branded?
Okay, that's quite film.
Very
like I guess it's got lots of scenes in it.
Yeah. You can see the setting everywhere. It's a journey. The person on the bus and the setting, the environment, the character. It's interesting.
As we're even talking, and as we're kind of, I'm thinking, I'm getting more and more adamant that like the only things that I love feel like I'm seeing something. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm like words. Why we like even when might like a phrase that somebody says. I love the musicality of words and stuff, but in terms of actual thing that's been created and crafted, all the stuff that I love. I feel like I love it because I can see. I'm
visual.
I see something, yeah. So it feels, and if that's moving, if that's not on the page, that's one thing. But if it's you performing it or speaking it, to my mind, I think that's film. I do think that's film.
You said something interesting about like when you perform, you want other people to see themselves in those situations. Like you got the setting, but whenever because I've read your collection and I've seen you perform online and in person many times, it's like I personally, not in a bad way, but I always see you.
Yeah, wicked.
Because each character that you've written, like if you're talking about yourself, and you're younger, I can see you as, I've not seen you as a kid, but, I'm in my imagination. Did you?
It was just size.
Oh my God.
But you're seeing like flashback, like you're seeing. Okay, wicked. That works for me.
Yeah, and you in different places, you in different, like, I'm not seeing you there.
But then I would argue then to see that, so I'm talking about the park and you can see me in the park. To see me, you got to be there yourself.
True.
Do you know what I mean? Like, like from some binoculars.
Yeah, it does feel like that.
I guess what I'm saying is that I want you to come with me. Like,
yes.
I want you to come with me.
Yes.
So I can say something. We're in the park or I'm in a wardrobe.
Yes.
Hopefully, like, if you see we're together. I guess that's what I mean. I want you to be.
Were you there too? You're asking, were you there too?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Like your film, we should
come with me. Come with me. Look, there's the camera. Do you know what I mean? Like panning. Things like, yo, can we do that? Can we talk about possible? Like, can I think about kind of language of stuff? Like think about shots. And have you ever put like shot description in things? Do you ever describe a scene with filmic language? Do you ever use things like the rooftop something? Do you talk in like vistas or like scenes or anything, or do you zoom? Have you ever used the phrase zoom in?
I have actually in one very specific poem where I was trying to do that in poem real time. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I do.
So it's a poem called How Men Are Made, and that's the main one I can think of. Where through the course of the poem, I say to the reader, as something about freeze frames, zooming in, like the lens is literally zooming in, and now we're going to focus on this bit of this freeze frame, and now we're going to focus on this bit of the freeze frame, and now press play again by the end of the poem.
Yeah,
it's making me think of there's a piece that I wrote that's it's called An Ode to My Queer Sims, and
one of my favorites.
But it's not just like for me, the experience of playing on The Sims on the family computer and finding out that you could, that the Sims could have queer relationships. And so for me, it's not just about saying, oh, did you know The Sims, you can have queer Sims? It's like the realization that that's something you could do, and like, where is everyone else in the house? And I guess because there is the feeling of, I was for some reason self-conscious about it, of someone walking in and finding that I was making The Sims kiss. For whatever reason, I subconsciously felt a bit of shame about that. It makes sense to write a perspective of watching that happen.
And is that what you do? Is that what you do as a piece? So in the piece, do you describe it as this you're watching? Did it feel like a lens is involved? If you know what I mean, like
yeah, because you're watching the character become self-conscious of, you know, understanding each person, each family member's footsteps and how they sound. So the inspiration for writing that piece. So an ode to my queer Sims, in which I talk a lot about observing somebody and they're at a family computer, and there's a subconscious feeling of shame because they're tracking where they can hear their family members in the house, and they've just discovered that they can make the Sims, or the Sims are invited to interact with each other in a queer way. And this feeling of doing it in secrecy because for some reason it shouldn't, subconsciously feeling like it shouldn't be seen. And that's interesting because I think writing about that is similar to if I'd scripted it as a film, because I can visually see it.
yeah.
And it's a solo character, so they're not talking to anybody in it. There's no dialogue. And that, in a sense, feels like scene direction in a film.
Can I say yeah, but there's no dialogue, but it goes back to the performance, where when you're performing, it's very quiet and slow, and it's almost like you don't want people to hear in case you're back in a
So we're in the film.
We're in the film. We've seen the character play out.
Type vibes. Like,
Yeah, really. So it just
is that
adds,
fair to say? You get to.
It's just interesting. I don't know if that's.
I think so.
You should be aware of it, right?
Okay.
But that's interesting to me because what you're saying, how an audience member takes it in, because that adds to the conversation.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people come up to me afterwards and they're like, "Oh, I really related to that. I remember." And so then that's interesting for me because then that clues me in that other people had this significant moment. And then it started to get me to think about, I talk about the orchestral music that plays in Sims when straight characters kiss, but I write it into the poem because I feel like the music should have been there for when queer Sims kissed, but it's not. I noticed that in the early games, it's not there, the sound isn't there. And thinking back, I was actually grateful that it wasn't there because it meant that nobody heard the romantic music, so they wouldn't have known that I was making Sims. Or
in fact, your own soundtrack playing in the head as well.
And so I knew what the soundtrack would be, but they don't actually play it.
Why is it interesting to be part of this gig? If we can be quite succinct, I guess it's like, right. I know why it's exciting to me. It's born of a conversation I had with Ian. They're all genuinely. Can you keep it quite simple? They're all films to me. All of my work is films, whether it's a novels, whether it's a poem, something that I'm speaking. It's all film. That's what I want it to be. That's what it aspires to be, and what it feels like my connection with is in my head. I want you to feel like you are watching me in the film with me. I want you to feel like you're there. I want it to feel like you are. It's kind of happening, and you're in it, and the light from the TV is catching your face, right? It is the biggest inspiration for me. Is the idea, the notion that we could feel like we're watching the film together and be in it. And that's why I do my work. That's why it's interesting to me. That's quite a boasty one to start with. I've got big brands, but do you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to try and, whatever reason, this gig or a project like this is interesting, does anyone have, what would you say?
And then for me, like as a poet, I feel like I'm a time traveler or something. And film gives me like a full toolkit.
Yeah.
Whereas the pen and paper don't always, I don't know, it doesn't feel like a total toolkit sometimes.
That's a wicked does.
Film offers me the full toolkit. I'm like, now I got all my tools ready. I'm going to go write a poem.
Yeah. I'm going to see some of
and I'm going to zoom in, I'm going to zoom out, I'm going to fast forward, I'm going to rewind. Because a lot of poetry for me as well, like as part of the whole time traveler job, is reimagining and reframing. I don't know, whether it's uncomfortable life experiences or traumatic life experiences, reframing them.
Yeah.
And I feel like a movie maker has that power.
Literally framing, right?
Yeah.
Literally.
I was very excited to see the list of names
Yeah.
because I respect all of your work. See, I'm fumbling already. I respect all of you and love your craft. And Flatpack Film Festival was actually one of the first artistic festivals that I attended when I moved back to the Midlands after uni, and got me really excited about art. And I could see that it interacted with local venues, and artists were invited to submit their pieces in a way that didn't feel as off-putting as some other things that I've seen. And I'm excited to see how that conversation continues, and will I learn about more festivals this way. And I like the project because there's an element of we chose the films from there were so many, and now there's so many that I want to keep talking about with other people, and so there's something quite special and magical to be like, come closer, this is a film I saw that I really want you to see as well, come closer.
Let's bring you people in. That's a lovely way for me. Yeah.
You know, for me, it's like perfect timing. I want to get more into short films and making poetic short films. So as soon as this came into my email, I had to reread it because I was just like, this can't be real. But then it is, so it's really nice. But just that relationship between poetry and film is something that I'm definitely going to explore this year, and hopefully for many years to come. So this is sort of like informing me. It's almost like research to be like, how can I become better as a poet and a filmmaker? Not as a separate thing, but like as one entity.